Okay, people, so apparently everybody hates One Piece now. Relax. When I say everybody, I'm using hyperbole. Like, I understand that, like, speak for yourself. I get it. I was using hyperbole, okay? Because after the latest chapter of One Piece chapter 1030, 1030, wow. 1030 chapters, craziness. People are livid with the events of certain aspects, in particular regarding two different areas, like one of which is a little bit weaker in terms of like the backlash to it, but there's two big things regarding multiple characters that people are extremely upset about, one of which has to do with awakenings. Again, that's the one that's a little bit less with backlash, but I've actually seen backlash regarding the awakenings. And then the other half of things is something that I ain't gonna lie, I couldn't believe my eyes. I was over on Twitter when the leaks started dropping, when spoilers were hitting the net, and I was dumbfounded to see that people were actually comparing One Piece to some of the horrible lows that Fairy Tail has seen. When I saw people comparing One Piece to Fairy Tail, Oda to Hiromashima at his worst, I was like, I'm in the Twilight Zone. I can't even believe I'm seeing this right now. From hardcore, dedicated One Piece fans, we're saying these things. And I was like, oh my gosh. When I read this chapter, I gotta brace myself. I gotta hold the chair like, what are you doing, Oda? And upon reading it, of course, I've got a lot of things to say. Because very controversial stuff, to say the least, in terms of the way things were structured. But I will say, narrative-wise, there's a certain subtlety of art to some of the aspects. And again, there's a lot to dive into, so I don't want to waste you guys' time. A lot of people are angry. The pitchforks are out. The torches are flamed up. People are bugging out. Let's talk a little bit about what Eiichiro Oda done started with One Piece chapter 1030, the awakenings, and the fake outs of death. Let's do it.
No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done. No matter how you feel, get it done.
So yes, people, like I said in the intro, very, very controversial chapter. Honestly, this is the hands down most controversial chapter of One Piece this year. The most divisive chapter of One Piece this year. The most, I don't even know, just wild chapter of One Piece this year. And probably even in the last few years. Because to be honest with you, I've almost never, since I've been a One Piece fan, seen this much hate come towards One Piece. Y'all know people walk around with One Piece like, yo, have you heard of the good book of Oda? Like that's the way more been walking around with One Piece. So when you hear a little bit of like people saying bad things about it, it's like, no, not One Piece. Like, no, like don't try it. And I also want to be clear about something. Even if there's some hands down unanimous things that happen in this chapter that you cannot deny, of like, oh, let's just say it's bad or it's not good or there's something wrong with it, that changes nothing on the totality of One Piece. In fact, certain aspects that, again, we're going to get into have kind of been already done before multiple times in One Piece. So I'm looking at it like, why are you acting brand new, fam? Do you just start picking up the manga like right now, or are you like, what's going on here? But yeah, this isn't something like the end of Attack on Titan, for example, where a lot of people, kind of including myself to a certain degree, felt like, yo, it's ruining the story. What the hell did you do? It's just maybe you could argue hiccups along the road that Oda, I don't know, maybe he was a little bit sick under the weather while he was writing these chapters. But let's take it from the top, lads. Because the cover page, ironically, and maybe not even ironically, maybe this was Oda straight up coming out and saying it in the best way that he could, kind of explains where he was coming from and what he was trying to do with this chapter, and explaining away what some people might say is BS. Because the cover page is of Brook, which coincidentally Brook died and revived using his devil fruit. And the name of the chapter is The Impermanence of All Things. Almost as if Oda was saying nothing is permanent, nothing is forever, not even death. Craziness. So again, I feel like cognizant wise, because Oda, let's be very clear, his life is One Piece. Anybody that works with Oda on One Piece, he tells them, big part of the job interview right here. You want to work on One Piece? I got a question for you. Are you ready for the question? Okay, cool. Will you die for my series? Keep it real. Say the truth. Are you willing to shed blood for that straw hat? So yeah, I'd imagine somebody that is that deep into the lore of their story is probably cognizant of what's to come within the fandom and the backlash that may ensue following events such as this chapter. But the chapter opens up in a very interesting way with Scratchman Appoo, the traitor of all traitors, approaching ex-Drake saying, I know you a, Marine trader and all of that jazz. I get it. Whatevs. However, I got a proposition for you, lad. I've got $30 in my back pocket. You want to do something freak? No. That's a whole different type of One Piece. Yeah. But no, seriously, he says, obviously you're a traitor, but do you want to take it all in the end? And you see that he is there with 3 of the numbers. Y'all know the numbers is crazy, and I ain't gonna lie, I love the designs of the numbers. I don't think we've seen these 3 numbers in particular. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure these are newer numbers. They're freaking huge. Their designs look sick. They're like drunk giants, essentially. Crazed, drunk giants. Like, they're ready to cause a riot at any given moment. So to see that they're actually strategizing along with Scratchman Appoo, it's very, very interesting. But then again, it could be that these numbers aren't like all the other numbers we've seen before, and they have a little bit more smarts that, hey, he's kind of saying something that makes sense. Because Scratchman Appoo's like, hey, do you want to take down Kaido? Essentially, the winner of this battle, which means that Scratchman Appoo still believes that Kaido is going to be the victor in the end of it. They're going to be massively exhausted. They're not going to be able to fight back. We could come at the very end and steal the whole show and take out whoever won, and boom, we're the winners right here. And because the numbers and Scratchman Appoo, again, Scratchman Appoo's a dirty, like, he's a rat's rat. Like, he's a rat's rat because he does not care. He has no morals, no ethics. Like, he's a piece of garbage. Scratchman Appoo is just terrible, you know what I mean? And he's there with the numbers, basically telling him, like, yo, we could get the W, but again, like, where do you stand? Like, you betrayed Kid, now you're willing to betray Kaido? Like, you're just a dirtball. To which Drake replies, well, what makes you think you're trustworthy for me to even try and trust you? And Scratchman Appoo's like, let's not talk about trust, fam. You're a traitor too. And I ain't gonna lie, I truly believe that X-Drake is going to go along with this, so to speak, and use this opportunity for whatever's to come towards the end of this battle, in terms of either A, he knows, okay, these guys are a threat, the numbers there, and Scratchman Appoo, I'm gonna need to stop them before, let's just say, Luffy and them win, and then boom, they come in, or the Marines come in. Like, I'm pretty sure that X-Drake is going to use this as an opportunity, pretend to go along with it, but then ultimately say, like, no, I gotta stop these guys, or I gotta come in and use them for my own purpose, manipulate the situation to benefit, which his side is obviously the Marines, so to benefit the Marines, or to just benefit the better outcome. Like, he's not gonna, hey, I've been working this undercover mission this entire time with Kaido and them, but you know what, I'm gonna rock with the numbers, man. We're gonna steal it all. Like, Scratchman Appoo is an idiot, though, and a rat, and a piece of garbage. However, we start to inch into the problematic, quote-unquote, aspects of the chapter, because we see that, of course, the castle is little by little on fire, because Usopp says, oh my god, it's a monster of some sort, and it is Kinemon's legs running. And immediately you gotta think, wait a minute, isn't he, I thought he was dead. Like, wait, wasn't he dead? Didn't he, like, he was slaughtered, he was cut up, cut in half. What Oda, why Oda, why? Let's be clear, because we're gonna go through this, I don't know, 3 or 4 different times throughout this chapter regarding fake out deaths. Oda's done this before. One of the big criticisms of One Piece, which is a small criticism in 1,000 chapters, and one of the criticisms you got is like Pell, you know what I'm saying, from Alabasta. That's a big criticism. Or that a devil fruit sword ate a devil fruit and stupid like that. Like, okay, I think we're winning. So when it comes to this, it's like, well, we've seen stuff like this before. Oda has showcased multiple times. Yeah, dudes, they fake out. Like, he's gonna fake you out. And unfortunately, it's something that is a culture clash, because in Japan, they love this. They love to feel like, oh no, he's dead. Oh my god, he's back. Yes, yes, yes. People love that over there in Japan. So it's a vast difference from over here. Like, over here, we're like, why are you playing with our emotions like that and wasting our time? Like, Fairy Tail has been infamous for this, and that's where, when I started this video, when I was talking to you guys about, a lot of people were comparing One Piece to Fairy Tail, and I was like, just stop. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked a lot of things about Fairy Tail, but One Piece is in a league of its own, and even when there's problematic aspects, hence, nothing is perfect in this world, don't ever do that. Don't ever. And I'm not even saying that as like a cocky thing. It's just One Piece has done so many things that no series has ever even dreamed of doing in terms of storytelling for such a long runner. Like, there's a problem here or there, very recent, 1,030 chapters in, stop. But Kinemon is searching for his quote-unquote friends because he needs help. There's something wrong there. And in order for Usopp and them to let him know, like, hey, we're friends, you know, we're here to help, because he don't got his ears with him, they draw, I want to say it was Nami drew a crescent moon, the symbol of, you know, their whole liberation, so to speak. And basically it was to give him an idea of, oh, y'all must be friends, which if it was Orochi, I'm sure Orochi would have thought, well, no, Orochi would have cut him up into mincemeat. But yeah, it gave him the idea that y'all must be cool. Okay, dope. And then Usopp gets the giraffe looking dude and throws Kinemon on there and is like, okay, I'll take you where you're trying to go, because he's like, help, my friend is on death's door, and Kinemon is covered in blood. And I'll say this, it wasn't 100% shown, and that's usually a thing in manga, is that if it's not definitively shown, so to speak, of like, oh no, they're 100% dead, there's no questions asked, like you see them dead, then you can't really complete. And even then, like Edo Tensei Naruto, hello, but you know, for the most part, the way it was shown with Kinemon, it didn't really look like he was not completely dead. How do I say this? He didn't get the proper send-off when a death goes down in order for you to say, oh, it's solidified. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still like, you were dead, come on, man, you got the work done in on you, what are you doing? And then on top of that, later on in the chapter, a little bit after this actually, we find out that Kiku is also not dead yet, because we cut to and we see Kiku there bloody on the floor, likewise with Kinemon, his upper half of his torso on the floor there bloody from where they were at. And I'm like, God, Oda, you're doing a double whammy, which I think that it's the amount of fake out that this chapter encompassed what really pissed people off. Because if it was just Kinemon, I don't think people would have been outraged about it. It was Kinemon and Kiku too. Like, okay, we're 2 for 2. Oda, you dropping the ball here with this one. But wait, there's more. And before we even get to the more, the explanation that Kinemon essentially gives, because he's like, oh my god, it's a miracle that I'm still alive even though the bottom half of my body was cut. It must be that Law never properly put me back together, which I gotta throw the argument here. Like, I gotta just be straight fair down the road. Anybody that says I'm biased one way or the other, you stupid. I ain't gonna lie, because I'm just genuinely being straight up fair down the middle. At the end of the day, that's something I could see Law doing. The very mistrusting person, he don't trust people like that. He's looking at him like, yo, you hiding something. I'm gonna do, you know, I'm not gonna put you back together quite the same, just in case you pull some bullshit down the road. And I could even see Law later on saying, I knew you were hiding stuff way back then, so I just wanted to double check and make sure in case you pulled the wool over us. Boom, you cut in half, fam. So I gotta throw the argument in there that, yeah, that is plausible that Law would do something like that on purpose, not on an accident, purposely, to make sure that Kinemon is on the up and up and not trying to lure them into a trap, because then, oh, it's gonna be curtains for you. However, like I said, there's more. Because Kinemon overhears Orochi talking to Kanjiro, and Kanjiro's talking back, and that's where it's like, we have essentially 4 fake out reversals in one chapter. That's where I think all of, or majority of the impact of the hatred for this chapter came from, because we have Kinemon, boom, he's walking around. We got Kiku, boom, still alive, probably going to be rescued. And in fact, I'd imagine now at this point, with everything that we're seeing, either all the scabbards are going to die in the end somehow, some way, or more than likely, none of the scabbards are going to die, which is kind of crazy to think about. But if it wasn't going to be Kiku, which, who's going to cry in outrage, oh god, Kiku, I'm dropping One Piece, Kiku dies, who's going to do that? I don't know. But then you go to the that had already like 2 or 3 fake outs with Orochi. Orochi already had how many fake outs already? Like, oh, he got his head cut off, oh, they cut off all his heads again. But, you know, he was already revealed, I guess, a chapter or 2 ago, so that isn't going to add too much other than a reminder that, wait, so we had 2 fake outs, and this guy just had a fake out the other chapter. And then Kanjuro is still awake. I'll say where I'd imagine Oda was going artistically with this, right? Because eventually it's something, you know, if he's been doing a stage play, right? If he did the first act, second act, third act, final act, all that jazz, and then now this being the quote-unquote encore, artistically, I get what Oda was trying to do, because that makes sense. It's all a big play. It's all a big stage to him. The world is a stage to Kanjuro. Ultimately, he's going to go in that direction of, okay, he wants that encore. And I also got to give it to Oda that it looked like Kanjiro dropped dead by the end of him doing that painting. That, again, we're going to get into all that. So Oda didn't completely do what a lot of people are trying to say, like he just did reversals and friendship and called it a day. Like, for starters, we could really break it all down that Orochi already had the fake out multiple chapters ago, so you're just kind of reigniting your anger for that. It is what it is. And on top of that, he had the multiple heads and stuff. There's an explanation there. Law would do some shit like that if he doesn't think you're on the up and up, and make sure that there's a way out of, like, you're gonna get it for playing with us. So I could imagine him purposely not putting him back together exactly the way he's supposed to be, in case later on he gotta do something to him. Kiku, nah. I ain't gonna lie, nah. Kiku, no. And Kanjiro, he dropped dead at the end anyway. It was kind of like, I still got one breath left, let me paint this. So, it's not as bad as people were trying to make it out to be. I'll give it that. Because Orochi is there trying to manipulate Kanjiro to the very end. You hear the applause. They're, you know, our ancestors are applauding you. Now you got to give them one final encore for the presentation to wrap it up and really demonstrate the rage of the Kurozumi clan. Like, man, I ain't gonna lie. If there's ever somebody that is naive and a bozo, it is Kanjiro. Kanjiro is bozo of the century when it comes to One Piece. Like, and you thought Buggy was a clown. No, he full-blown clowned out over here listening to this bozo. Oh, the Kurozumi clan. Shut up. However, with his final act, which again, I swear to God, Oda, leave him dead now. He does a drawing of something called Kazenbo, and it's supposed to demonstrate the fiery, burning passion of hatred that the Kurozumi clan has, and it's just a giant glob monster of fire that is going to go burning through the castle, and it seems as though, again, following that final act, that encore, not even final act, we already had the final act, that was the encore, Kanjiro dropped dead. Now, if Kanjiro gets up again, this time we gotta rage even harder. I'll say that, because, like, at the very least, you can just say he had a last breath to move his freaking hand around and then he dropped dead. Like, whatever, it's still a little cheap, but it's not as bad or egregious as, like, what's happening seemingly with Kiku. How Kiku was about to get rescued, yay, or Kinemon cut in half. Even though, again, there's some reasonings behind you could throw that why it happened. But, and I'll also add in here that it feels very appropriate, very ironically appropriate, that the castle burns down, because remember what they did to Odin. They burned down his castle, burned down his hopes and dreams. So for this glob monster of fire, for the Kurozumi clan to burn down the same way they burned down Odin's, now this castle is getting burned down. It's appropriate. That's what should happen. That's what it deservedly should happen after everything that they did to Odin, and also by the same snake that Kaido got in bed with. If Kaido never got in bed with this piece of garbage, Orochi, things might have been different, because Kaido got very dark rocking with Orochi and lied and, you know, swindled and became a true to blue pirate, but a scumbag nonetheless. But you see that things are progressing outside of everything that we just mentioned. You got Brook on the run. You got CP0 making moves. They're no longer just lounging there playing checkers or chess or whatever. They're actually maneuvering, because obviously things are burning down, and of course they're waiting for that final moment of everything set, which you got to think about. Oh my god, the setups that we have right now, fam. We just got that the Numbers and Scratchman Appoo are about to make their move when all is said and done, and then on top of that you got CP0, the government, the world government, about to bust or call that ass once everything is said and done. This is going to be very ugly at the end. The climax of this arc is probably going to blow minds, and then lead into whatever, whether it's going to be another Marineford-esque type of arc with Rescue Sabo or some shit. Like, I can only imagine what the future, but the ending of this with CP0, now they're walking through, which means that it's progressing on the other side of things. The Numbers with Scratchman Appoo, it's like we're gonna think, the battle is all done, and then wham! Whitebeard's fake son Weeble is gonna show up. And we also see Marco, Izo, Kawamatsu, and then even the big three fighting, which I'm glad Oda brought that back in, because, you know, a lot of people have felt like it's kind of an abandoned theme at this point in One Piece, the whole big three, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, but it was showcased in this chapter. We got Sanji fighting Queen, Zoro fighting King, and Luffy fighting Kaido as a split, to demonstrate that, no, the big three is alive and well when it comes to One Piece. Those three are still the big three. It just took a little longer for Sanji to get that massive power boost that is happening with whatever's going on with his body and the transformation of, you know, whatever Judge did to him as a child. And I'm just wondering how Oda is going to resolve everything with Orochi, because I'm looking at it like, so we got Orochi there, he's waiting for his mans to come through. Udo, I don't know how to pronounce his name, to be honest with you, but he's waiting for his mans to come through. Ears, let's call him Ears, why not? and he's there like, you know, I gotta escape out of here, and Kaido thinks I don't know, but I'm very aware of all the weapons we made being down there in the armory at essentially the bottom pits of this castle and whatnot, essentially again reaffirming that there's a bomb about to go off, and also how much of a piece of shit he is. He's like, yes, you know, think about it, just a few moments ago he's manipulating Kanjiro, the final encore act, burn it all down. Meanwhile, he's trying to escape like a little like Orochi, a piece of trash to the very, very, very bitter end. I ain't gonna lie, it would have been kind of cool to see. I know it wasn't going to happen because everybody got their assignments and they understand their assignments very well. But Yamato racing off to the bottom to get to the armory to try to soften the blow because, you know, Momo's trying to slow down the castle, and if she could figure out, you know, about the armory at the bottom, they could stop it from completely blowing Wano to freaking Kingdom Come. But when Yamato's running through and she happens to cross paths and see what's happening between Big Mom, Kid, and Law, for a moment I was like, oh my god, that would be so cool, man. She's so strong. She fought with her father Kaido. She would be a big asset to fighting Big Mom, and I want to see it. Especially considering early on all the fandom had like this big theory that she was Kaido and Big Mom's daughter. That would have been epic to see her just jump in there, even if it's just with one quick thunder Baguia to Big Mom's face. I would have loved that. I ain't gonna lie. I would have absolutely been here for it, because she hears Big Mom screaming and bashing Kid through a damn wall, and I'm like, I'm going to say this. I feel like, to a certain degree, Oda has been conflicted or having trouble trying to go through with how Big Mom takes an L. Because let's be clear, the Yonko have been some of the most built up villains in all of anime and manga. Is, you know, we're 1,000 chapters deep and we're finally getting to a point of seeing that them possibly taking an L. How the hell do you get to something satisfying that doesn't feel cheap, that doesn't feel convenient, that doesn't feel like, oh, come on? Like, I feel like Oda struggled with that, just being honest with you, and this is the happy medium we got with it. But ultimately it felt like it was a wrestling match in his own mind to get to this point, just because, like, we've seen Big Mom in multiple bouts, we've seen everything from this arc, and to get to here where it happened, I feel like that's why Oda had to pull out the awakenings for these characters, which was another big thing that people had a problem with the chapter. Again, not as bad as the other stuff, but some people were upset of like, wait, awakenings? How didn't those, like, what? Because as the battle between Big Mom, Kid, and Law is going down, we cut to a small little flashback of moments before of Law and Kid talking, and Kid asking Law, like, yo, are you able to use your awakening yet? Have you awoken your ability yet? To which Law replies, I can use it, but it's kind of like a last resort type of deal. Like, hey, if I'm going to go out, then I'm going to go out with a bang, because it takes up too much stamina. It's just ridiculously draining, so I only use it when I'm on my last legs. I'm really inexperienced with it right now, which a lot of people called BS on it, like, what? And it does sound a bit convenient with Law. I'll say with Law it sounds more convenient than Kid. I say that Kid deserves this moment. Kid has gone through a lot. In fact, we're seeing a very prominent character, Kid, one of the worst generation, one of his dreams coming true. Just think about that. This is endgame stuff, because one of Kid's dreams, or his big dream anyway, was to take down a Yonko. And it might have not been the Yonko that we all wanted to see, of course, and what was built up of him versus Kaido, but it's a big Yonko, the mommy Yonko. Because Kid replies to Law, same here, in terms of, like, you know, it's very draining with the awakening and it's difficult, but back me up with your last resort, because we're about to give it to the big. And Law uses a new technique, which again is a part of his awakening, I'm imagining, because he appears behind Big Mom and stabs her with anesthesia, and then uses an ability called Kroom that essentially creates shockwaves from within, which kind of to me sounded like the ability that Luffy learned with the Haki of being able to destroy somebody from the inside out. That's what I got from that. It kind of sounded like that, to be honest with you, like shockwaves from the inside coming out. And I did really appreciate that it was so freaking powerful that it made Big Mom start spitting out blood. Like, yo, to see Big Mom come to this point, which again, I feel like this wasn't something that Oda had planned for years of, like, this is exactly how Big Mom goes down. There's no way in hell this is too intricate. It has to be like Oda had to figure out now, okay, Big Mom got to take an L, which I don't feel like she's dead by any means. I don't even feel like she's going to be seriously injured after all this. I feel like maybe she's going to be a little banged up, but nothing where she's on death's door, just being honest with you, even with everything that happens at this end. Because Kid says, here, have some magnetism to Big Mom, and essentially turns her into a giant magnet that the homies can't even go, and all of the freaking metal beams from where they're at, the area that they're at, everyone's weapons, all of the cronies' weapons, everything just comes flying at Big Mom, which, again, Oda didn't have this plan for years or anything like that. I'm like, yo, this is how Big Mom takes an L to, you know, one of the worst generation. There's just no way in hell. It's too intricate of, like, metal beams and, you know, kids awakening and stuff like that. And, again, that's going to pack a punch. Big Mom is probably going to be a little bit hurt. If she was already bleeding from the shockwaves of Law's scroom, yeah, she's going to be a little bit hurt. But then, I ain't gonna lie. Hold on, I gotta do, like, I know there's so much hate. I get it, alright, Oda messed up, yada yada. But I gotta say, for the sake of Kid, thank you, Oda, because you did our boy dirty. It looks like this has been, now that I think about it, the last couple chapters, big turnarounds for characters that Oda has done so dirty throughout this arc, like Sanji and Kid. Sanji and Kid, I ain't gonna lie, there was a chapter, I'll never forget when I tweeted it. I got a lot of backlash for it, but I said, Sanji, I can't do it no more with him. I think it was like during the Black Maria show. I was like, oh. Now I see the method to the madness, because he had something so big for both of them, beating a Yonko and Sanji turning up. Yeah. And the chapter ends off with Kid telling Trafalgar Law, help me escape. And Law's like, yo, I don't take orders from you. I don't take orders from nobody. I don't take orders from Straw Hat. You think I'm taking orders from you? But nevertheless, of course, he's going to do it because, yeah. And Big Mom has been punk clashed to the smithereens of the Stone Age. And I ain't gonna lie, this chapter did have problematic issues, I'll just be honest with you, mainly with some of the fake outs, not all of them. Again, Orochi was already a fake out from chapters ago, so you're just reigniting an anger there. Kanjiro, he did drop dead after the fact, like he lived one more time, he took one more breath to move his hand to draw some and then drop dead. Kinemon, I could see Law doing that. It does feel convenient, and like, come on, Oda, with the fake outs. And Kiku, yeah, I don't know. I'm more so maybe upset with the Kinemon and Kiku than, again, Orochi or Kanjiro, because Kanjiro died anyway, seemingly. And as far as the awakenings go, Laws kind of feels a little bit like, okay, Oda, you just kind of throwing that in there right now, just, hey, but Kid, he deserved this. He's been through a lot. I feel like this has been building up to this moment for him to finally take out a Yonko, and I love that ending. Like, there was problems throughout the chapter, but at the very least, I can say I love that ending. And again, we're moving forward with wrapping up Wano, so I'm here for it. Very curious what you guys think. I'm going to put it very, very simplistic to you guys, and I definitely want you guys to comment and let me know. Love the chapter or hate the chapter? Which one? And your thoughts and reasonings behind that, because, yeah, most controversial chapter of One Piece in a long time. Everybody hates One Piece now. Again, that's hyperbole. Relax. That's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life, bye. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and hey, Oda, do a little bit better next time. I'm just saying, a lot better in terms of stop the fake outs. We don't need that, man. We better than that. Have an awesome one.
So just go to